Night. Bills at the Jets. The Bills are favored by 2.5. The Jets, if you haven't heard, fired Robert Saleh, head coach.
I hadn't heard that.
Is now the interim coach.
I didn't know that. Damn.
You know, this was one of those few weeks because I've made the adjustment to only having you on PFT Live on Monday until college football season ends, the Sasquatch sighting show. But we could add some fun, breaking down this whole Robert Saleh thing, the Aaron Rodgers effort to make it look like he had no fingerprints on the gun whatsoever, which I think is bullcrap. I'm not saying.
Of course it is.
He ordered the code red. There's no way in hell they did it without letting him know. There's no way they did it without getting his input. Any suggestion to the contrary is just flat out bullshit.
Yes, right. I mean, they've done nothing since he's been there without checking with Rodgers. Come on. I mean, they're signing best friends. They're asking him everything, right? I mean, the offensive coordinator's his best buddy, all of that. Yes, of course they did. That's crazy to think that they didn't run that by him. And I have a hard time, of course, believing that, they just happened to talk the night before it happened and they didn't talk about it. What? If they didn't talk about it, then they're both stupid, is what I would say. That's what I would say to that, if they didn't. I don't understand what they're talking about there. And then, by all due accounts, man, it has the feel, and I know you and I will get this story eventually, but it seems like, I don't know, changes were going to be made Monday morning, and it seems like people were unhappy about it, and then shortly after that, Robert Saleh was fired. So, that's the interesting thing here. But, I don't buy – I mean, Rodgers is kind of fibbed and – immunized and all that to where I don't really believe very much that comes out of his mouth anymore.
Here's where the timeline is interesting because it was Tuesday morning when Robert Saleh had a staff meeting and said Nathaniel Hackett's being demoted. It was Monday night that Woody Johnson spoke to Aaron Rodgers. But look, I mean, this is where the Rodgers word games become important. Yeah, we didn't talk about Robert Saleh being fired, but what about Woody Johnson saying, I may have to make some big changes.
Yeah, right.
And do what you got to do. Right. That's it. And keep this in mind. Just because he was on his safe space yesterday, and he wouldn't do Pat McAfee and AJ Hawk's show
on the day he was supposed
asked
to.
Tough questions.
Well, and the day he was supposed to, which because he had to figure his story first. Yeah.
They had a team meeting at the time.
Yeah.
So that sounds plausible. But my point is, there's going to be a press conference, and we hear all the time about how rough and tumble the New York media is. We've yet to see that directed at Aaron Rodgers. I want someone to drill down what he knew, when he knew it, what the content of the conversation was. Was there any discussion about big changes? Well, let's be aggressive about getting at, did he know this was happening before it happened? Did he have an inkling? Was he told? Do you directly?
Why wasn't that asked yesterday? I'm the safe space.
Because he won't do it anymore.
Well, it's just ridiculous.
If they don't ask him,
it's ridiculous.
If they ask him questions like that, he won't do the show. All right, who do you like in the game on Monday night?
Then don't make so many issues, and then we won't have to ask questions about you all the time. That's what I would say to that. Okay, Mr.
I've drawn you to the dark side. It took me 7 years. You used to sing hymns to Aaron Rodgers. Now you're ready to literally set him on fire.
He's at his best. Literally, he might be the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. But has he made missteps and become more of an issue than a positive the last few years? Absolutely. Let alone his play does not merit what he does. I mean, he does not play like a top 10 quarterback in football. So you can't act like you're the king of the organization when you don't do that. Sorry. I mean, so that's my big thing there. Yeah. And I'm sick of people blaming Nathaniel Hackett, right? I've seen the Nathaniel Hackett offense. It was when he was in Jacksonville and they went to the AFC Championship game with one of the worst starting quarterbacks we've seen in recent history in Blake Bortles. They didn't run this offense exactly. No. This is the Aaron Rodgers offense. We all know this. This is what he wanted to do in Green Bay. He wants to throw it 3 yards. He wants to throw it 3 yards again, and then he wants to throw it behind the line of scrimmage and let somebody run after that. That's all he wants to do. But people are going to blame Nathaniel Hackett. And now they're going, Todd Downing's going to call the plays. So what? What's that going to do? Hey, get in the shotgun, Aaron Rodgers, and do whatever you want. I mean, is it really going to change anything? I got to see it to believe it. But having said all that, I don't believe in the Buffalo Bills. Their offense ain't very good, right? And I think this might give the Jets an energy boost here. And the Jets defense is the best in football. I'm going Jets 20-17.
They did beat the Bills last year when Aaron Rodgers exited after only 4 snaps, when Zach Wilson came in, and somehow they won in overtime, if you remember that outcome, which was just stunning.
Yeah.
I think the Bills win this one. 21-13, Buffalo pulls off the victory. They need this one, and I just still think the Jets are sufficiently in disarray. You know, we're being told certain things publicly. I think privately it is a hot mess, and they're doing what they can to hold it all together. Later in the year, interim head coach maybe makes a difference. I don't know that it makes a difference because the defensive staff is depleted now. Saleh's out. Albert goes from defensive coordinator to head coach. They've got less defensive brain power to come up with a game plan to stop Josh Allen and company.
Yo, homies, thanks for watching. Yeah, it's time. The NFL season is here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
You can hit subscribe to get all the weekly picks, plus our Sunday recaps as the games are happening.
Oh, you know it. Nobody does that better than us. Thanks again for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out. We'll see you next time on Unbuttoned.